Well, here we go again. Another state-sponsored killing spree that takes place, and we as gun owners are somehow or another under attack because some wacko goes out there and wants to kill people. Okay, why am I calling it state-sponsored? It's a state-sponsored killing zone is what it is, because our government mandates that schools be gun-free zones. How has that worked out? Gun-free zones, the home of 98% of mass killings in the United States of America. 98% of mass killings happen in gun-free zones, sponsored by the United States of America. Our government pushes these gun-free zones onto us, and there's nothing we can do about it, and that's where the killers go to kill people. Less resistance, a lot more of a body count over there. I know it sounds tough, but my God, it's the truth. I have to ask myself this one question. Why don't we spend at least as much money protecting our children as we do protecting members of Congress? You have heard the argument that why are we not spending the same amount of money protecting our kids that we protect our money at banks with, with guns and, security systems and all that good stuff. I'm more concerned with the people who make the laws, who hand down those laws, who gave us the gun-free zones. They're the ones that I want my child to at least have the same amount of security that they have. Do you think that any member of Congress will enter a building where anyone else is and there's not somebody armed to protect them? The Capitol Police. The Capitol Police, which do a darn fine job in Washington, D.C. If you've ever been there, the guys in the white shirts, they do a fantastic job. These guys are well trained. They're just awesome. They're awesome at what they do. But you get what you pay for. They're paid well. You know how much money the Capitol Police get in Washington, D.C.? $426.6 million a year to fund the Capitol Police in Washington, D.C. They're there for the sole purpose of protecting our members of Congress, who again give us gun-free zones for our children to be in all day, every single day. Now, that's just the $426.6 million that we know about, that we can see on a budgetary line that's dedicated to protecting our members of Congress. You want to know some other areas that are just, when I tell you they open the checkbook up, they open the checkbook up. The House Members Handbook. This is a handbook that members of Congress get whenever they come into Congress, whenever they're elected, they're newly elected. They get this handbook and it basically tells them what they can or can't pay for or pass through as reimbursement to collect from the government. If they spend money out of pocket, they want to get that money back. I've got a security section here. Pulled it up. I'll post the link in the comment section below in the video. You can go to the section that's titled Security. Ordinary and necessary expenses associated with security measures necessitated by official duties are reimbursable. It goes down to capital improvements. Capital improvements are basically if they're renting or leasing a building from a landlord, that if they want to make some security improvements like bulletproof glass, improve the casing in the window, put a security system in, something of that nature that's a capital improvement to that property, they don't directly allow them to get reimbursed for that. But what they do is kind of a neat little money laundering scandal. They tell them to let the landlord go ahead and make those improvements, hint, hint, wink, wink. And what they're going to allow them to do is now up the rent or the lease to that congressman so that we basically agree to pay for that as taxpayers indirectly, even though we are directly paying for it. And you can best believe that they're probably getting that money pretty close up front and being made whole, the landlord is. So they're laundering the money. Instead of it being a line item that they're actually reimbursed directly for, it's now instead of being put under a security line item, now it's going to be under kind of like a facilities line item because it's built in now with the lease and the rent. So it's kind of slick how they did that. I'm sure some accountants and some attorneys had something to do with that. Security personnel support outside of the Capitol Police. Payment for security personnel at member-hosted district events such as town halls, or to accompany members during the performance of their official duties, or to be stationed inside or outside the district office during business hours, is an ordinary and necessary reimbursable expense. Interesting. So basically, they have the Capitol Police and any other security that they want to pay for. It's reimbursable, directly reimbursable. Security items. This is pretty interesting here. The purchase of a bulletproof vest for the member is a reimbursable expense. Interesting. I wonder how many teachers out there that are going to public schools, that are teaching in public schools, who would like to have a bulletproof vest themselves. I mean, I can think of a whole lot more shootings that have happened at schools than have happened in congressmen's offices, can't you? But yet we're going to allow a congressman to have a bulletproof vest? Security training. This is even better than the bulletproof vest. Security training for members and staff is a reimbursable expense. Again, how many teachers do you know of who are forced in to these gun-free zones, have no way of protecting themselves or their kids, who might like to have a little bit of security training? Since I can't have a gun, can you at least teach me some other kind of way to maybe protect my children and myself? I don't mean hiding under a desk. I don't mean bringing everybody into the class and closing the door. I mean to fight for my life, to fight for my children's lives in the event something like this happens. You don't think our teachers would like to have that? But we're not willing to pay that money to our teachers. We're willing to pay $426.6 million for Capitol Police and basically open the checkbook up for any other expenditure that members of Congress want to secure themselves and their own families. And we're okay with that. That's not right. That is not right, guys. The people who gave us gun-free zones don't operate within gun-free zones. They are protected at all times. You're never going to point to any congressman and convince me that that person walked into a room with a stranger in it and they were not protected by a gun at some point while they were in that room. You're not going to convince me of that. I don't believe it. And we're paying for that. But we're paying for those people to be secure and not our own children.